right, let's get to Friday night footy. Collingwood against Hawthorn, and the Pies absolutely trounced them. Not an upset, but I think the surprise was the margin of the victory and the ease that Collingwood was able to transition the ball from one end of the field to the other across the course of the night.
Yeah, their transition was on full display. They're number one in the comp now for percentage of scores inside forward 50, and it was their efficiency going forward, their ability to know when to use a forward handball or when to take grass and hit a target that's further afield. And the Hawks really struggled to defend the scores from turnover, also leaked a lot of scores from stoppage. So it was there. Yes, Hawthorn were disappointing, which we'll get to in a minute, but you cannot take anything away from Collingwood. Again, this forward handball on display till the point where they get out and see an option further afield, use the targets. And yeah, Jamie Elliott, who is just having another one of those seasons. Yeah. I think his best season in Collingwood colours, which sounds crazy seeing as he's into his 14th year as a Collingwood Magpie, but there's only been 3 seasons previous to this where he's kicked over 33 goals, and there's still 12 games to go in this season. So I think he's got to be All-Australian at this stage in the season. There's no question about that. He's now equal leading the Coleman. Obviously, Jeremy Cameron and Ben King have a game in hand, but I've been nothing but impressed by him, and there's so many veterans at that club that just seem to be getting better and better in season 2025.
He's been fantastic. 23 goals in his last 6 games as well. What about Hawthorn's lack of tackle pressure? They were minus 44 in tackle differential. And you notice something here around corralling rather than tackling.
Yeah, so this is the moment Blake Hardwick has to go and make Dacos either make a decision, and then again, this is where Morrison needs to go, make a decision. Because he doesn't go and he corrals, that puts Ginnivan in 2 minds as to whether he comes forward and presses or whether he drops back. And again, this one here, this is Jamie Elliott just sort of shrugging off a player. And if you're going to give a player like that much space inside forward 50, you need to be better than that. And then again here, Nick Watson, another missed tackle that leads directly to a score involvement. So it's not just those players, obviously, that we've highlighted. It's all across the ground, and their tackle differentials in the last 4 weeks have been quite astounding. They only laid 36 tackles against Brisbane. Yeah. They had 9 players that didn't lay a single tackle on the field. And the other area where they're unable to assert any pressure is their tackles in the forward 50. So they actually had 1 more inside 50 than Collingwood in this game. Mm-hmm. The Hawks laid 4 tackles in their forward 50. Collingwood laid 13. Yeah. So when you're a team that bases your attack on chaos and turnover from the opposition, which is exactly what Collingwood did to Hawthorn, you can't generate turnover if you're not generating any pressure on the ball carrier.
Minus 44 in tackles is the 7th largest differential since Champion Data began taking that stat. Here's Sam Mitchell, Hawthorn coach, speaking after the game.
I think it was pretty clear to everyone that was here and those watching at home that, we're at this point miles off it. That Collingwood team are super sharp, and they're, we played Brisbane last week and they were very good as well, but that was another level today. So that's what we need to aspire to and above to beat them when it matters.
Where do you think Hawthorn's at? Because 3 straight losses now, all to good sides, Collingwood, Brisbane and Gold Coast, but they're 1-5 against top 8 teams. They look to me like they're, and I'm not saying this is a bad thing because 18 months ago you wouldn't have said they should be in this position, but they look to me like they're the 8th to 10th best side in the competition. Yeah,
and I think that's what Sam Mitchell's point is there. They're not playing like they're a team that should be sort of in and around the position or the top 4 position where a lot of people have had them this season. They're not playing their best football. They haven't worked out how they can best get it all together as a team across 3 quarters, across all lines of the field. And their next 2 are really pivotal games. They've got the Doggies at Marvel on Thursday night, who are coming off a bye. And then they've got the Crows at UTAS down in Tassie on a Friday night. So we said sort of coming into this run that we'd know a lot about Hawthorn. Well, the next 2 weeks, we're going to know even more about them. I'm surprised post-game that Jack Ginnivan said that was the time they had the conversation, bring your mouthguards to training. I thought that would have happened last week after a very disappointing loss in and around the contest against Brisbane, a lack of pressure, couldn't win clearance, couldn't win contested possession. I just find it interesting that it's now happening a week, for me, a little bit late, because they should have been wound up like that to play Collingwood. Whether or not it did happen last week and we haven't been privy to that information, that's another question. But for me, it was a statement game on Friday night and they weren't able to make that statement.
It's going to be a massive night on Thursday night against the Western Bulldogs here at Marvel Stadium. Lloyd Meek involved in a contentious incident with Pat Lipinski, who suffered a concussion as a result of this. The MRO looked at it and said that he couldn't have done anything to stop Lipinski getting a concussion, given that his head hits the turf at the end of it, and that he was actually contesting the football. The spoiling hand didn't go towards the ball, didn't deviate away from the ball, and that he had his eyes on the ball the whole time. So he's got no case to answer for there.